Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, the Leo King, and we are here live for Deep Astrology, the weekly show where we go into the horoscopes, where I channel it live to you, and then we go deep into the charts, which are brought to you by Astrological. You can get it on iOS, you can get it on Android, you can get it on your MacBook or your iMac, and of course, you can get it on PC with Solar Fire. Thanks so much for supplying those charts. And this is for the week of April 23rd through the 29th of 2019. Oh, let's just take a breather for 1 second, because I'm sure you're feeling the heavy weight, the radicality, the turn in direction. This is a very heavy Earth time this week, and we have two major planets going retrograde this week. We've got Pluto, which is going to go retrograde in less than a day here on Wednesday, and that is majorly intense because the South Node is right in between Saturn and Pluto. And then on Monday, later in the evening, Saturn will retrograde, both in the signs of Capricorn, dealing with this kind of heaviness, these big decisions. And with the Sun now in Taurus, just past Uranus for the first time since the 1930s, this is a big deal, because this is now taking us to a whole entire new Uranian world. Uranus rules the world, it rules innovation, it rules moving forward, and it's in its fall position of Taurus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. It's all about creating and manifesting and beauty and appreciation and what you have and what you own. It rules money, it rules your car, it rules your possessions. And holy moly, this is a whole new direction in what is it that I want to spiritually own in my life. And the intense changes that are happening that you cannot deny anymore. Like literally, it's been like the universe has been just throwing us to these positions to where it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta do this change. And then it's like we find a nice, good old Pisces way of squeaking clean out of it. And there's no more Pisces left. Sure, there's Neptune there, but that's a long-term deal. So these personal planets like Mercury and Venus, which are now in Aries, are demanding us to move in a new direction and identify what the issues are and the problems. And with Venus that's been on Chiron, especially today, in Aries, this is a very new energy for us. Venus in its detriment. Remember that the Sun in Taurus, remember Taurus rules Venus. So with Uranus now in Taurus, the Sun in Taurus, there's all this Venus energy going on. But now here's Venus in its detriment in Aries, which it can get real fired up about things real quick, but then it kind of, can lose its flame when it doesn't go the way it wants to. Or more importantly, it has to deal with this aloneness a little bit by the choices it makes. And with on Chiron, these are decisions that we need to make about who our true authentic self is, and that's really hard to do. Now, I think it's very important for people to know that with this Venus-Chiron energy, with all this Sun-Uranus energy in Taurus, it's not easy, because we have to move into a whole new direction. And when you add this Pluto Saturn retrograde that's coming this week, in the sign of Capricorn with the South Node on top of them, it's extreme. I know that everything is extreme, but it's like, this is extreme because there's no more breathing room. It's like in Star Wars in the trash compactor now. Ah! But it's like, do you really want to be in a trash compactor anymore? It doesn't smell really good in there. And especially if you're going to be with, Chewie for that long, and she, it's like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, he's cool, but I don't know if I'd want to have to fall asleep next to him while I'm getting crushed. This is looking at relationships intentionally, because last week was that second full moon in Libra, and then it went into Scorpio, and then we had the Sun move into Taurus. So we went through a dramatic shift with the full moon energy just in the last month. And especially when you have full moons on cusps, you're moving from the Sun and the Moon into different signs literally within a day. And that is extreme, it is taxing. And then you come to this week, and you've got Pluto and Saturn retrograding in Capricorn with the South Node. Remember that Pluto and Saturn take years, over 35 years to come together, and they are so close from coming together, and now they're going to retrograde and go, no, we're not ready to fully destroy everything yet. So it's so funny how I brought up at the beginning where it's like you've come to this point to where there is no more breathing room. There is actually just a cinch left that everybody is looking for of whether that's deniability or not wanting to make the full change. And maybe I'll just be very blunt, maybe all of us aren't ready to do that till the Tower card comes at the beginning of 2020 in January with Saturn and Pluto that'll meet up. So maybe we are just going to wait, and maybe we are just going to live this summer, but do we really want to do that? This Uranus-Taurus energy is telling us that there's a whole new world. And I think part of the reason why we're trying to squeak clean of things or avoid things is Mars is in Gemini and it's squaring Neptune this week. So talk about being, I said in today's daily horoscope, I said, it's like welcome to Mario Kart, beep, 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 banana peels everywhere, and it's not like you're Mario or Yoshi or anything, it's like being Koopa or being Donkey Kong and trying to get this thing going and and then freaking out, and then when everything's all spun out, trying to get back on track in your life, and it's like, and you're pushing A and B as fast as you can, and you're pushing all the buttons, I don't know. Sorry for all those that don't play Mario Kart out there, but I think a lot of us have played Mario Kart. So welcome to Mario Kart, everyone. The next, especially from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as Pluto goes retrograde on the South Node, the universe is going like this. Pluto's being like, done. I'm done. I have exposed it all. And you know what? I am going to show you what truly needs to change. We have been through the beginning of this year with all these planets direct. But now with these planets all starting to come retrograde, we're going to start to get some resistance to be able to understand where we're going and have some footing. It's been a lot like no footing. Just, oh my God, I'm going here and I'm flying here and I don't know what to do with this. And that was the chaotic Pisces transit of that Mercury retrograde. Chiron leaving, Pisces. There's been so much Piscean energy, and then Venus there, square Jupiter. And I think that when we actually look at this Mars square Neptune energy and the combination of this Pluto retrograde, as Mars is squaring Neptune, which, Mars in Gemini is determined to figure life out, determined to communicate how it really wants to be. And it also is a very expressive energy. Mars in Gemini has a lot to say. It has a lot to show up and do. It has a lot of ideas. It has a lot of problems that it wants to solve. But with the square to Neptune, it's oh, but wait, that's sensitive? So I don't know if I should say something. 1, 2, I don't know if I'm actually ready to deal with that algorithm in my head that I've come up with the actual solution and I've come up with the actual facts of what will happen. Maybe it's better to just hold it off because I don't want to deal with that yet. Mars square Neptune is when the warrior shows up and is all determined, and then it remembers that it has jock itch, and it's I don't know if I should go fight. So maybe I should just take a little break here and, put some, powder on it or something. Mars square Neptune as well is the guy or the woman, or since we're in a gender equality place, the human being that walks into a sexual situation and has a sensitivity about its look, or maybe it needs a little blue pill to get a little bit harder. So when you kind of think about that in my kind of layman's terms, it's we kind of feel like we need that, whether that's a Viagra pill, whether that's a Red Bull, whether that's something to get through all this. And because we know with Jupiter retrograde, Pluto coming retrograde, and then at the end of this week, Saturn retrograde, these three are masters of knowing. Intuitively with Pluto, the ultimate emotional truth. Saturn, the understanding of where everything is really going to go and what can be accomplished and what can't by reality, especially in Capricorn. And more importantly, let's just look at how, those two alone are masters, but with Jupiter retrograde in its home sign of Sagittarius, I feel like Peter Pan right now. It's Peter Pan having to remember that if you don't believe in that you can fly, you won't fly. It's a lot like Hook. If you remember Hook, maybe some millennials don't remember Hook, but I think every millennial remembers Hook. Robin Williams had to go to Neverland again, and he was a lawyer, and he was on his phone, very Pluto, Saturn, Capricorn. No, I can't, kids. I can't make it to your baseball game. I'll have someone come record it. That's where we're all at in our lives, of not having to deal with this North Node in Cancer, these emotional positions that are extremely ultimately sensitive with Mars squaring Neptune and forcing us to face, the other part of Mars is it forces us to face a sensitive issue. That's why somebody takes a Viagra. That's why somebody takes Red Bull if they don't have a lot of energy. It forces you to do something about it. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be ultra sensitive. If you think the sensitivity thing is going to go away, just add Venus that's on Chiron. There's, oh my gosh, just, maybe I'm not really happy the way that it all looks. Venus in Aries is like, I don't like to be this. Like, imagine Peter Pan looking at himself in reflection of what he turned out to be as Robin Williams, all dressed up and out of shape, and he's got his phone and he doesn't know how to fly and he has no hope that he can fly. He doesn't have that love. He doesn't have that connection. Pluto is asking for connection. Now, yes, it's in Capricorn with the South Node. So it's also about understanding what has to die. Pluto rules death. That's spiritual death, that's physical death, that's emotional death. And that is that you're holding, what are you holding on to? What are you holding on to so much? Because it's obviously, Venus, especially when it comes to projects, relationships, that's what Venus rules. It rules also your own desires and your values in yourself. Are you going to be easy on yourself, number one, and accept, you know what, I'm in these weird positions. That's okay, number one. My sensitivities are extremely up, and I know exactly why they're up. I know what the actual facts are. I know what the patterns are. Even though that Mars and Neptune are in square this week, squares to me are so amazing because whenever the squares happen, the planets are always going to be in their actual same, like we're in mutability. So there is a mutability understanding of a spiritual sense and a mental sense. But those two, if you don't know how to put them together, it's going to cause the square. It's going to cause the hard aspect. Oh, there we are, losing my mic right there. But, that's where we're at a amazing moment in our lives. Because if we're ready to surrender fully to the best world possible, that's what the sun in Taurus wants. It wants the promised land. It wants the grapes. It wants the flowers. It wants the beauty of life. But Pluto and Saturn, let's be honest, like if you've just done your astrology, or if you don't know about astrology, I'll just give you a little hint again. These two together are the hardest two planets to come together. They're the two most malefic planets. And when you add Mars, which comes, by the way, coming into 2020, remember that Mars and Venus will retrograde in 2020 like they did in 18, very rare. And now we're in cycles like that, which is kind of crazy. But you need to remember that, like, this is an out. Uranus breaks people out of their own prisons. And I think that what has been very difficult is having to accept breaking free of ties physically and emotionally, but the emotional stuff is attached to the physical. It's attached to the enrichment of the emotions that is physically felt through touch, through smell, through little things, especially when you bring up relationships that have gone through this double full moon in Libra and then Venus on Chiron now, which is really weird, but more importantly, Taurus is about the enrichment, the feeling like, oh, that bed and the way that they made the bed and the physical elements. But this Saturn in Capricorn and this Pluto in Capricorn, yes, the South Node's here. So this is where we definitely need to work our most on letting go of, is the grip we have on, we can't go any farther in our life without something, without having this. It's a lot like, Thor without his hammer. Like, I can't be a superhero without this damn hammer. Is that what you're playing right now? Because that's not true. It's not true. You can go through life without holding on to big things that you assume, and remember, anybody in an assumption is just an ass to themselves, including, our own spiritual growth. And before we go in these charts, I just want to tell you that it's like, look at Mercury and Venus this week. They're catching up to each other in Aries. The sun's in Taurus now. Uranus is here finally. The sun has, you got to remember, the sun is the king. The king has just came to the people, to the world, the Lord. No irony with the whole Easter thing, right after Easter, and said, this is the new world. Go pop it open. Uranus didn't get that last year. Uranus and Taurus got that in Aries. That's why this feels so different now. And so this is about detachment. But with Saturn and Pluto, with the South Node, there's an ultimate grip that you just can't let go because of your emotional sensitivity. But what about your own life? What about the life beyond this? It's almost like, why can't you see beyond it? Is because the fear of just, who knows? Life can change in the matter of a minute to a second to a year, whatever. Who knows what's on the other side of the fence? And we're told in society that, is it really greener on the other side, right? Is the grass really greener? Well, when the Uranus comes into Taurus and the sun comes into Taurus, the whole lesson is a better world is on the other side. And if you actually look at the way that the spiritual community talks, the news talks, anybody talks, everybody's talking about how to make this world a better place. Whether it's from climate change, whether it's from human rights issues, whatever, you can look at every denomination, whether it's the diets we eat, what's happening with animals, everything. So why can't you apply that to your own life? Maybe you can by becoming a vegan or becoming spiritual or cleaning up your trash and doing great recycle. I will just give this quick story before. A lot of people don't know, and maybe it's not in every city, but in the major cities like in LA where I'm at or here in Orange County where these studios are at, do you think that they put those recycle bins out there because that's the only thing that'll get recycled? No, that's money, okay? This is some tourist lessons for you. They are having you do it for them. They have people that work at the trash companies that dump them on conveyor belts and go plastic bottle, glass bottle, because that's money for them. So you're just doing it for them. So I always laugh when people look crazy at me if I throw something in the trash and I didn't realize there was a recycle bin there. I'm like, do you really think that the people who are recycling this shit are going to let everything in the trash go? You're crazy. But why are you afraid? Why are you so afraid when you can do this in all these areas to change the world, but you're afraid to let go of the one deep, sensitive, emotional thing that is going to change your world to the best place ever? How I need to maybe start throwing my recycle into the recycle bin instead of the trash and having those people at the trash do it. Because actually, if I think about it, if I could help people out better and help the world out be better, then that's maybe something that I need to change in a very small manner. But with these bigger things in life and relationships and directions we're taking and career elements and the new world and our true values and the true essence of experiencing a world that we haven't felt yet, that inside yourself you haven't felt. How else are you going to get there? Let's look at the charts. Oh, I'm super lost here. Hold on, let me adjust some mic action here. Where are we? Okay, here we are. Let me get this. Sorry. I've been actually here working through Easter and haven't gone home yet. So I had to put on some clothes I keep here at the studio and didn't have my normal stuff going. Let's take a look at the charts here. Ooh, there we go. So, hope everybody's doing good. Definitely an intense time, but there's so much positive in this, even though it's extreme. All right, let's look at it. April 23rd today. What's going on? Well, I'd say that the biggest thing that is going on is The sun is now just past Uranus. So guess what? Like I said, the king, the sun, has now tipped the people off that this is the new world. This is the new world, and the new world is we are in a Taurus world. You know what this reminds me of is, I want my MTV. It's a great song, but it's like that kind of like physicality of life, you know, microwave ovens, and you know what I mean? Like now, on a spiritual sense, it's all these things that we own in our spirituality, in our personal lives and stuff that are coming up now that need to radically change. So, you know, it's time to throw away that microwave from the 80s when that song was playing, when Dire Straits, we are in dire straits right now. Oh, how hilarious is that? So, you know, there is this song. But one thing I want to remind everybody about Taurus is, and you all know, my favorite sign is Taurus. If I had to pick my favorite sign, and it's not Leo, and I'm a Leo, and I'm the Leo king, and I got a lot of Leo, Taurus is my favorite sign. I think they're the best energy, the best people. I just love it because it's so sure about what it likes and what it doesn't want. I miss my best friend right now, who's a Taurus. He's been gone for years. I miss him dearly. And even my godfather, I've talked about him, and he's Taurus. And I miss him, and he's gone from this actual world now. So I miss him dearly. Because whenever you go with a Taurus, they know what they want. It's like when they go to a restaurant, you don't have to like, I've never seen a Taurus be like, I don't know what I want. I don't really know. It's like, I want this and I want that. And can you take that off, please? And yeah, and actually, can you cook it? One thing about Taurus is they'll do that thing, and this is very Uranus and Taurus. It'll do something that you didn't realize. Like, I remember I grew up here in California. We have In-N-Out. We're big In-N-Out people. And like my brother was big In-N-Out person, but he always kind of showed me the Taurian way, even though he's a Virgo. He was like, yeah, can I get that like animal style? Can I get that with like can I get the fries actually well done? Can I get this? Like, I'm like, what? You can ask for all that shit? What is going on with the mic here? This is just, see, this is Taurus problems. It's like, I know it sounds good, but it's being muffled by this. There we go. Okay. So that's what we're at. Is that looking at things like, oh, wait, actually, it can be better. It can be. But I think that the difficult issue here is when we look at this massive Capricorn, look at this. This is just, the moon has moved in here. Remember, the moon is at detriment, okay? The reason why that July 4th, 1776 is when they did the Declaration of Independence is because on the 2nd, when they were going to do it, the moon was in Capricorn, detriment. And they wanted a moon in Aquarius. It's a better moon. It's more connected to people and help and all these things. But with the moon in Capricorn now coming on top of Saturn, South Node, and Pluto that are stationary, going retrograde, this is bringing up so much intense stuff in our deep private worlds that we're afraid to make choices on, or we're trying to keep the control over the grip on things, even though we know it will end. It will come to an end. So I want you to take a second and process that you are controlling things, and that you think that you have the control of things that you know are coming to an end, that you can't keep doing anymore. You can't keep holding on to. It's not going to take you to the promised land. It's not going to take you to where you really need to go in life. It's not going to take you to a better life. It's not going to take you to your ultimate goals that are achieving. And those ultimate goals that you're achieving are deeply connected with a much more emotionally satisfied place with the North Node of Cancer. And so, like, sitting in emotional discomfort and just hoping that change will happen by sitting there is not the times we are in. I will let you know when those times come. They're not now. They're not for a long time. We are at an end of time when it comes to just things, just keep holding on and it'll change. No, like this is where insanity comes in with Neptune. Neptune, of course, you know, is about to, and you're going to start to see as we move forward through the week, it's at 17 degrees. It's almost at its 18th degree position here. This is where Neptune is going to come to the Series 18 degrees. And with Neptune making great aspects here, we can either be in delusion and insanity about what we're holding on to, or surrender to allowing God, allowing ourselves to let the true spiritual path be in front of us by letting it go so we can move forward into a different direction. And if you think that the Neptune-Uranus semi-square is over, no way. This thing's still going on. So you can't go to the better world without surrendering. You can't go to this better world if you are in an insanity place, especially if you're in delusion. And I'm going to say delusional a lot this year because, you know, creating this story of, oh, you know what? Yeah, I keep doing that pattern, but it's okay. Eventually, I think I'm working it out. It's like, yeah, how's that jamming that, you know? People are so triggered now today, I can't say shit now, you know? So it's like, you know, just how's that beating your head with a hammer keep going? It's going good? It's going good? Yeah, eventually, yeah. Maybe it'll fix your brain? Maybe. So, you got to also look at this Venus-Chiron thing. This has been difficult because Venus is in its detriment. Remember that the opposite of Venus in Aries is Venus in Libra, where it's at its home, right? It's dignity. And this is, remember, where Venus went retrograde last year was through Libra from Scorpio. So this Venus over the next couple weeks, when we get the new moon in Taurus, is going to be up with the area in which we started to come into retrograde zone, especially after the new moon into the next full moon. So these relationship situations and stuff and these projects are either going to fly high or completely divert course, okay? And with Chiron here, it's the reminder of you need to remember you're unique. We all are not perfect. We all have our own weird stuff. And relationships and projects are coming to where those weird issues are. And also the identification of what is not going to truly work. But Chiron is a warrior. Don't ever forget and don't ever think that Chiron is not a warrior. Chiron is a warrior. So Chiron in Aries defines the truest warriors, I feel. And I feel that this is where we have to all step into our power without being afraid. Chiron is afraid. It's a feared warrior of the wounds of the past, of what current situations don't look the way that it wants to, but it still finds a way to move forward and change and do something different about it, approach differently life, and find that the energies that you do not feel are suiting you, that you feel like a weirdo in, that you feel that you don't fit in correctly, because Chiron does not fit in with all the other planets, sorry, and it is in the same orbit. It does go through Saturn and Pluto, in between that line of the transcendental planetary line. You're dealing with this weird vibe, and if you are in denial that the relationships, the projects, the change in these relationships and projects, that there's even intertwining between them, whether you're in relationships that have business together and love, or if you're going to go into something like that, all these situations are all coming up. And this is where we have to learn detachment and move forward. That's what Sun and Uranus wants. And I'm going to show you how intense Wednesday gets with this Pluto retrograde. So Wednesday, the 24th. Actually, it's one of my best friend's birthday on that day. Ryan Lewis, I just want to give a shout out. Slappy, been my best friend since 7th grade. We used to walk to school together every day and went through high school together. And it's his birthday that day. I just want to wish him a happy birthday. I haven't seen him in a long time. But now we're a couple degrees off with the sun, and the good news, well, I don't know if I was going to say the good news, but this Pluto is going to be stationary and going retrograde on Wednesday. And when that happens, Pluto, which is Scorpio ruled, remember, we have all this Taurus stuff in opposition to what Scorpio is. So the changes that need to be made are in opposition of what we want to not let go of. Especially when Pluto's in Capricorn. Like, oh, no, wait, I have to have this in order to do this. You know, it's a little bit like me being like, well, I have to have Sprite to do the show. How about I just switch it up on you right now and go, actually, maybe it should be Powerade right now. You know what I mean? Or maybe, actually, what if I pulled out a water? You know what I mean? It's like you can get through life without, I think Pluto even though he can be the destroyer and he can be the great one that also brings up all the rising through the phoenix, you only rise to the phoenix once you have killed it, once you have transformed, once you have put it to an end. So if you're expecting your life to change, but you're afraid to put an ending to it all, if you can't pull the plug, well, you're not going to get that big rising spirit. So Pluto, even though he can be very harsh and he can be very intense and he can be very fearful, I think that you have to remember with Pluto, it's like Pluto has comedy too. Some of my favorite comedians are Scorpios because they just there's no fluff. It just gets right to it. It's like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? What am I doing? You pull the plug, I'm done. All right, transformation, let's go. Let's go have a great time. Let's go have a great time. What are you doing? Every Scorpio knows how to have a great time. You know why? Because they tell you straight to your face the one thing that they see right through you. They see right through you and they go, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. And everybody doesn't, everybody gets a little triggered by Scorpio because they're like, well, and then they come up with excuses. That's what we all are in right now. Pluto is literally retrograding in Capricorn, and Capricorn is very sure about how to get to the best place. And that's what it's trying to do. Pluto actually is a very, very good planet too of like, I want to change things so you can fly the highest in the highest way. Every planet has that, even a malefic planet. But it's like, how are we going to do that if we're afraid to make change? And if we're going to keep holding on to things, and the sun is past Uranus now, so it's like it's seen and it's gotten, there is a different direction out there. Why don't you go see what that is and go, it might take a little bit of time of slowness, and I think that's what the fear is when people think, I'm going to put an end to something, whether it's a partnership, a business situation, or just a whole way of life, or where I'm living, or I'm not saying things, I'm going to start saying things more, or I need to make my body change and start working out, or I need to gain weight, or whatever it is. It's that moment where it's like, oh, you know what, it is possible. Why don't I go do it? But the fear is, because this is all Capricorn and Taurus, the slowest signs in the zodiac, these are it takes time. And people want instant gratification after coming out of a decade of Uranus and Aries, which was like, bam, bam, change. Okay, I want that. I'm going to have that now. I want to be on Tinder, swipe right, swipe left. You want to meet now? Let's go. Bam, bam, bam. Get in my car. Boom, 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 boom. Instantly, finally, we got used to like, I'm able to get a hold of somebody right now. Let me Instagram them. Let me get on my thing. We are so used to instant gratification that when the universe is going to say that you're going to get what you want, but it's just going to take a little bit of time, I don't know if I could be alone for more than an hour. I don't know if I could be alone for more than a day. I don't know if I could be alone for a week. Do you remember 150 years ago, just to send a letter, it would take 3 months to get that letter there and maybe 3 months to get it back, and sometimes it took a year. Or go watch The Notebook. Motherfucker didn't get the letters until she showed up later, like getting ready to get married, and he never knew. And then he went and built the house anyway. You know what I mean? Like, so guess what? That's a very Uranus-Taurus situation, is The Notebook. Do you think that it was just instant gratification for him? Oh yeah, I'm out of the war, and okay, like let me call you right now on Messenger, and let's go I'm gonna get the house and I'm gonna rebuild it and we're gonna have the greatest life ever. No, I gotta go do this. I can't get a hold of her. I don't know how to get a hold of her. I'm gonna go do this. I gotta go see the world. I gotta go figure it out. I'm banging the chick down the street, whatever. And then, like she shows up and then they end up being friends. And I don't know, that movie's so funny. But it's like, hello, that's your fear, is slow growth. Slow growth. Why do you think people are expecting the world out of Bitcoin or any of these things right now when it comes to instant gratification of money? Like, oh yeah, invest now in this, invest in this, and then you'll just get instant, yeah. And people calling you up like, I got this deal that, oh my gosh, like all you have to do is this and you'll get paid just like kabam. It's like, if there's no work involved in slow growth and actually putting in your energy, stay the fuck away from that shit because you will lose. This is slow growth. This is like stocks and bonds, like old school US bonds. I remember my grandfather always like, and he played the stock market. He was an accountant and he did very well. And my grandfather did slow growth. And he always told my whole family, never play big with stocks. Play small, play slow, and you'll win. And this is that time right now. But look at this Mars The problem with this is Mars is in Gemini. Like, I need that stimulation now. I need to understand the facts now. I want to see it now. I need to be stimulated. If this environment isn't going to work for me, I want an environment that works right away. It's like, okay, Neptune is in squaring to it and saying, like, are you going to just not pay attention? One, because Mars square Neptune is people totally not paying attention or driving into the iceberg or driving with blinders on or driving drunk, right? Mars square Neptune is like driving drunk. When you know you shouldn't. The bad things happen when you do that. Bad things happen if you drive drunk. You kill people. Ruins your life forever. This is not about winning by just subconsciously going off of your addictions, your patterns, and your fears of being alone. Mars square Neptune also has this moment where it feels alone from God for a second, or it feels alone from where it gets spiritual support, because it's forced to reconnect and look at what is the block. It's not that God is blocked from you. It's not that at all. It's whatever that you have wrapped yourself up into the idea of how your life should be, and you're overstressed about it, and this Pluto retrograde and the Saturn retrograde. Jupiter is reminding us through all this to see a bigger picture and to believe and to see how many options are out there to build great things, instead of like not adventuring and not seeking an understanding that we have never seen before by doing this. And I think that people are afraid to tear apart lives. That's the whole part of Pluto and Saturn's job with the South Node. It's tearing apart concrete. The moon is in detriment. Saturn's in its home. South Node is on Saturn. This is tough choices that are things that we have to let go, because they have to be gone, because they're not part of the story anymore. They're not part of really what's taking us to where we really want to go in our life. Like, you will have the ultimate satisfaction in life by fully surrendering and letting these things go. But if you're not ready, I mean, look at Venus and Chiron, and when the moon squared that spot Tuesday night and stuff. So there's a lot of hard squares coming. The moon squaring Mercury, questioning, oh, can I do this? Oh, wait, but what about, is this traditionally right? Is this, this is where Mercury right now is like, gosh, I just want to get towards Uranus, please, to get some freaking clarity, because now I got to deal with emotions that are holding on to old traditions and old ways and old time systems. If you want me to be the most blunt I can be is that the time system we've been on, especially since the last Pluto Saturn conjunction, which was in the 1500s, early 1500s, exactly about 502 years ago, is not working. It's not working. It's created slavery. I mean, everything, this Gregorian calendar system, which is connected with the church, it's not working. It's creating us to be stuck in bubbles and stuck in traditions and stuck in holidays and stuck in a system, in a bubble. And this is us, whether or not you're afraid to jackhammer out of the bubble, but you have to jackhammer out, before you can get out of the bubble, you have to get out of the bubble that you created within yourself. And that's what true heroism is right now. In yourself, is not being afraid and not worrying about what this ideology, these belief systems of the old traditions that go back to the last Pluto in Capricorn, which is in the 1760s to 1770s, the last Pluto 7 in the 1500s. I mean, we're like walking around in 2019 with an iPad, but acting like we're in the 1500s of like, well, we still got these old traditions that I got to be this way. Imagine when we break these and move into the new energy in the new world. And of course, religion scares the shit out of people with it, including Doreen Virtue. I'm going to call her out. She didn't even comment back. I think she hid my comment, tried to scare people and tell people that the devil comes to her angel cards that she sold for years. She's just timid and scared. And I had a very beautiful and logical and loving message to her about it all, that yes, I think that the dark can come through cards. They can also come through, well, when you're connected to Jesus or not, or Christian or any religion. But this bubble trap of fear of like, if you don't live like this way, you're basically going to hell. Remember that Capricorn, and Saturn especially, is the ruler of the devil, okay? So just because the bottom of astrology, Aquarius in Capricorn, rules evil, and Leo and Cancer rule live. And those are backwards. And lived and devil, okay? Lived, devil. I mean, it's pretty, and this is just because the sun's at its peak and giving life, and this is when the sun's at its weakest and giving, the death of the trees and all that. It doesn't necessarily mean like, oh God, like because I'm a Capricorn, I'm a devil, because I'm an Aquarius, I'm a devil. No, it just means the energetic vibration of these signs. So as Pluto retrogrades, we move on to Thursday. I told you this thing is just not working out. I am going to find a new way. This is just typical life right now. Hold on. Oh, hello everybody. All right. There we go. Much better. So this is where it gets gnarly on the Thursday, because the moon conjuncts Pluto as it's retrograde. And the moon passes Saturn, which is stationary, which is going retrograde on Monday. So this is where things are going to be intense. Now, I recommend everybody go check out Michael Luton. He's my favorite astrologer. He's a good friend of mine. And I give credit for people with their astrology. And he's been talking about something called the occultation of the moon. What the occultation of the moon is think this is Earth, okay? Okay, that's why we look at a geochart. So the moon, even though we're seeing it right here, it's like right here. But what's behind it is that Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. And when the moon crosses over it, there is this deep hidden aspect of this darker control system in our own lives, right? Trying to hold on and control our own selves. Or you can look at it and other things that Capricorn rule, from systems, rules, governments, all these kind of things. And this occultation, he calls it, is, especially because Pluto and Saturn are so close to each other and the South Node's right in between them, is intense. And this is something that goes back to just, think about whenever the moon passes the South Node. When it was in Aquarius, that's when we had like crazy attacks, crazy weird situations happen in Aquarius because it was crazy. When it was in Pisces, that's when it was like, especially if you follow, I bet you you could just go do an ephemeris and go look at the election of all 2016, and every time the moon passed the South Node in Pisces was a crazy, delirium or misunderstanding or who knows what the hell's going on. We're in Capricorn now where there's these things that we're afraid to let go of. There's also this stuff behind the scenes with Pluto there. Pluto's very hidden that are trying, and it's on ourselves we have to emotionally look at, and it also will like physically bring it up. And these are things that we need to learn to change. But I would check out Michael Luton because he's talking a lot about this. And I want to give him credit for talking about this occultation point. He's really been focusing on this. And I don't want to say that I own that understanding of astrology. He's the one who really brought light to it. So I want to give him the credit for that. And I would recommend you guys all check him out on Facebook. He's the man. And how I'm funny when this happens, Mars is pretty much within 1 degree of squaring Neptune. So remember, we're on a crazy drive now. Oh my gosh. Okay, with our head, our mind, our spiritual selves, but we do have Mercury and Venus now. And I think that this Mercury, Venus, as they're coming closer, like we need to remember the positivity. We need to remember what we want in our life, who we are, and are we holding on to things that are not us? And let's focus on what we are. The sun, Uranus, the sun's at 5 degrees now. We have moved finally past with the sun towards where we're out of Uranus's shadow. And so we are moving now forward, and now it's the sun and Mars leading the way. These are leaders. They're leaders. Now, yes, there's a semi-square, but it's not exact anymore. But we have the sun and Mars moving, leading the way now. Very rare. These are, Mars is our warrior, our champion. The sun is the king, and they are going into battle, and all the troops are behind them. So there's this means that we all have to step into that leadership instead of being followers. We have to step into leadership. We just can't be like, wow, look at the king and the commander, they're the ones going forward into battle. Like, am I really that sensitive where I can't go too? You want to be a leader, you want to have this great life, but why are you following? Or why are you trailing behind? Kind of an interesting way to look at all these things. As we come into Friday, we've got Mars continuing the square to Neptune. Now it's at 17, Neptune 17. And again, this is where the moon's now in Aquarius, going to square the sun. That's the other thing I forgot to mention at the beginning. We have the moon square the sun. We have this 3/4 square of the moon in Aquarius. The moon wants to break free and experience new things, but it's like, uh-oh, I've got the sun in Taurus and I've got Uranus in Taurus, and they're trying to figure out what to hold on to and not to hold on to, so now I'm going to have to sit here and try and like come into this crazy algorithm of how and how, what can I disconnect from that doesn't feel good if there's too much confusion or people are still afraid to disconnect fully from what they don't want to let go. I think the moon in Aquarius can help, especially as it's making great aspects to Venus and Mercury, saying, we come into this weekend like, you know what, why don't we just, everything can be figured out, only the things that we really want that align within our life that make us feel good, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But with Mars square Neptune, it's too sensitive to do that. So if you go backwards with Mars square Neptune, then you're going the wrong direction. This is where Mars gets tripped out because of like a weird noise in the woods. Is it really the weird stories they talk about in this weird part of the jungle? Like it's a little bit Princess Bride when they go, we're going into, what is that, the fire woods, the woods of fire, whatever. And he's got the princess, and he's like, he's not scared, he goes in there. But Neptune's like when the little psh, psh, it's like, what? It's like, why? Come on, keep going. It's just a fun house. It's just a fun house. Interesting ways to look at all that. Saturday, moon's off this, trining Mars. Mars is off Neptune. Weekend's great. Weekend's going to be, I think, electric, exciting. But there is this one thing I want to say about the weekend, is Saturn is stationed, and it is stationary. It's stationary direct, going retrograde. So it is completely stopped. And when Saturn stops, it makes you realize, now that Jupiter's retrograde, now that Pluto's retrograde, that there's nothing else really left that can continue on the way that it is anymore. You have to make a change. You have to stop. And so this is where I think people with the moon square Neptune, even though it's off a little bit, it's like, do not go crazy this weekend with the excitement, energy, with Saturn there to teach hard lessons on top of Pluto and Saturn that are about staying on a good track and a good emotional track in your life and not letting yourself, lose yourself or just kind of go crazy or do something, stupid. Like Saturn and Capricorn's like going to test when it's at its stop point and go, is this good for you in your long-term life? And if it's not, let's stop doing this. It's okay. Let's stop. Because when I retrograde, I'll show you why. But if you don't, when I show you why, you might not like the results as much. And as Sunday comes, the moon's void off course. Sunday is kind of a weird day. It does make a good aspect to Jupiter, but the moon goes void off course, and it's just like, Sunday's kind of just, it's going to feel good, kind of feel a little off as Saturn is stopped exactly, and this is where people are deeper processing some deeper choices they need to make in their life and what needs to change and what's better for them in their long-term goals, and also about not the control of things that we want, but learning how to have control in life, period. Like over, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I need to stop this pattern. Maybe this isn't good for me anymore. So this weekend is a big revelation weekend of what no longer is serving your life and how to break free of that and how to explore the new, better things. But if you're going to the old thing where it's like, I'm going to do the same thing, I'm going to go
do this. I'm going to go to the bar again. You've done this all before. You've been doing this what, every day? You've been doing this every year? You've been doing this for how many years? This is where we stop this stuff and go, let's rechange. Let's change the directions. And so Monday is the big day of Saturn retrograde. And now we have, look at that. Look at it's all red too. We have all three of the big boys, well, except Pluto, but Pluto is as big of energy. The two biggest planets retrograde with the south node there and Pluto. So this zone in the zodiac is now a major construction zone. And what is it? It's Jupiter and Saturn in their home signs. Very rare to have. And it's all about expansion and contraction. And it's about, in order to expand, you need to learn what you need to stop. You can't go without stopping something. It is a very weird aspect. Mars as well is making some very big quincunxes over to this energy coming into this week, with the moon as well that's going to be on top of Neptune and square this spot. I think that this is coming into this Monday, the 29th, like this full new world is here. The sun's at 9 degrees. It's ready to come to the second decan. And the sun now is going to start to be aspecting and coming into these zones of these aspects. Mercury is going to start squaring Saturn. Venus is going to have to come through this. So the personal planets next week, if the choices you make this week, if you're still hanging on them, you can't let go, you're not going to have the personal freedom and the personal good energy to truly move into the energy in life that you really want to have. You're going to have Pluto and Saturn retrograde squaring Mercury and Venus. It's not going to be the most greatest energy that you've ever seen in your life. I'll be honest with you. So it's about this week. It's here, it's revealed. And I think that this moon in Capricorn is going to force you to emotionally learn to bite the bullet and make change and end things. It's like you cannot keep trying to repair what's irreparable. And next week, Mercury and Venus are all excited to come together, but they are not excited to come together with the square to Saturn, the square to Pluto, because those are that's the police officer Pluto, like the FBI, the police, like any kind of like energy that's going to check on you, and then Saturn, which is like your boss, all together looking at you like, did you finally stop? And then Mercury and Venus all like lovey-dovey and happy and chatting, or like, wait, what? And so relationship-wise, it's going to be hard. Monday, Tuesday, Venus square Saturn, not fun. When Venus is in detriment and Saturn's in its home sign, it's like, what relationships are you entering into? Did you really think about this stuff? Is this the right time in your life? Even look at your life and see the weird timing of things. It's going to be off. It's not going to make sense. And so that's where you're going to have to really start to see that these are insecurity issues that we are all dealing with that have put us into these places because we're not ready to face them. Or if we are, you're going to see people say, I'm done, I'm changing it, and I'm doing that, instead of faking, because faking doesn't work. And Pluto retrograde gets rid of the fakers. Saturn retrograde gets rid of fake energy. And Taurus, with Uranus there, no longer will show fake anymore. It'll show you a facade, but you can see the cracks in the facade. You can see the energy that's not real, that's not connected, that's not true. This is waking up of truth. And the way to wake to the greatest truth is whether or not you can wake to the greatest truth within yourself. So I wanted to show everybody, my daily horoscopes now are finally moved to highvibe.tv. And I wanted to show you guys the site because if you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to, which is pretty cool. What you could do actually on the site is, like, let's say right now I had my daily video today. So the apps are coming out in a couple weeks, but the website's up and it's like an app. So this is like on my iPad. So if you want to watch today's horoscope, I sell it for $1. You can get access right there for $1, or you could 7-day free trial, or $7.99 per quarter for each month. So I've really created this. All the Future Life people are moving over today and to tomorrow. And there's a lot of awesome things on here, especially like I just put my relationship video on for sale. It's 122 minutes, an hour and 22 minutes. If you already bought it, unfortunately, the systems don't move over, so you already have it. But if you don't have it yet, for $9.99, you can get access to it and watch it on here and download it into the apps when it comes out. But you can watch this thing, and it's awesome player and stream, and I put it for $9.95. I'm moving everything onto here. All my horoscopes, all my weekly horoscopes are on here. And we got lots of other people. We got people doing, now everybody's calling me. We've got my weekly tarot, my weekly intuitive, all my sun sign reports. And then, of course, we got horoscopes with other people. We got tarot, we got angel cards, we got wellness with the astrology health. We got intuitive readings. We've got Steph Baker doing a bunch of channeled readings, and then we got a lot of new age stuff, whether that's people going to be talking about things from human design or crystals or anything like that. It's all here, and it's all being made right now. So, and I've already got all my content on here. It's going to be available in the next couple weeks on iPhone, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. This has been a lot of work from a lot of people, and I want to thank all those people. I got to thank Abby Moneyhunt. I got to thank Craig Skidmore. I got to thank even for the people who still aren't here that have really been part of this, because this is what we've wanted, to build a spiritual home with all this information. And that's why we built these studios, was because it literally was for bringing content. Like you watch this deep astrology like that onto a platform that we all can connect. You can comment. That's the best part about this thing, is that you can start connecting, commenting. Look at already right now. This is so awesome, so simple, it really is. No need to worry, I'm going to check this out. With you, we support you, brother, so we can all start having conversations under the videos. We also have the ability to go live on this platform. So I think when Craig's gone next week, but the following week, we're going to start going live on Deep Astrology on High Vibe TV. We're going to go live, of course, still on here, wherever on Facebook. And we're really going to start playing with a lot of stuff. We're going to be doing some new After Dark shows where you can come in here and watch. There are free videos on here, too, that I'm about to put a bunch up. I just put up just one free video to test, but there are free videos like me in Arizona on Good Morning Arizona. I'm putting up all my press, putting up all my lectures, and I'm having all the other talent do it. This is literally the next level. And the school is on there, so you can click the school, boom, takes you right to the High Vibe TV Lightworker School. They're separate entities, but totally different full courses. Whether it's spiritual e-commerce, you can get Jax's full tarot. And I just want to show you Jax's full tarot. Like I want to actually just for 1 second, just show you this because it's amazing. Oh gosh, here we go. We were just, let's, hold on. Let me log in. Yeah, here we go. So when you go into the school, this is what it looks like in the back end, because I don't think people have actually seen it yet. But, all right, we're good. So I just want to show you how it works. So like with Jax, right? So view classes. I mean, we're talking about full tarot, and when it's not like oh, this is just on some webcam or something. Let's just look at this video. It'll let you know where you're at complete. And when you watch this, I mean, this video is it's insane on how it really is, because he has it all there, and of course it's all on your iPad or it's all wherever. Oh, it's airplaying it right out of my Mac, but anyway, it's awesome because it really truly does show so much. Oh, it's not showing. Huh? I know, because I think it tried to AirPlay it for stop mirroring. It tried to AirPlay it. There we go. Now we're back. So that's the whole coolest part about it is, there's multiple camera views. I want to show you how I put my whole entire astrology courses. When you view classes, tier 1 through tier 2 to tier 3, we're talking about, what's going on with it? Are we back? All right. So with the, I think it's because when I went video, if I go video. So anyway, but as you can see with the video, I mean, we're talking how many classes just in tier 1? I mean, it's like 15 classes. 15. That's just tier 1. That's just basics. I mean, by the 11th class, you're at transits and transits. Are you ready? Preparing you, house systems. It goes so deep. It's so awesome because when you go to your library, you have all the different courses. I've been doing my spiritual e-commerce business development, which has been teaching people how to build a whole spiritual business from top to bottom. Shadow work. And honestly, and I want to give credit again to Sarah, her shadow work we've been applying. How is shadow work? She even does mini modules where you can actually do workshops, where you can actually do it on your computer and with everything, and it's all in PowerPoint and things like that. All these videos are all shot here at the High Vibe Studios. And it's awesome. So I just wanted to show you that all these things right now are all here. So highvibe.tv. So if you just want to just maybe watch one horoscope a week of mine for $1 to get a feel, or if you want the 7-day free trial, it's there. And it's all at highvibe.tv. The apps are not out yet. There's an old High Vibe TV app. It's not the same one. Okay? And Future Life is ending. My content's done on there on May 31st. And they're not accepting payments anymore as of April 30th, and they're cutting off all the reoccurring subscriptions. So everything's now on highvibe.tv. And this is something you don't want to miss. Check it out now. Truly appreciate it. Get my relationship report. It's only $9.95. It covers all this crazy relationship stuff. And you think if we're just out of the woods yet? No. That was the turning point, and it's whether or not we're going to face it on weeks like this, and especially next week. Thanks so much for all your support. Truly appreciate it. I'll see all of you on highvibe.tv or here on any of my social networks later.